Pre-order Cyberpunk 2077 at cdkeys.com using our link.
I refuse to die here!
Hi, I'm Robert Yap, here with you for Studio 35's video review of Edge of Eternity.
When you woke in the snow, your mind was already gone.
Your brother is your weakness, Celine.
Darian is the only person I can trust with this mission.
If you really want to find a cure to the corrosion.
Edge of Eternity is a somewhat new JRPG title that started out as a Kickstarter project, but since its successful campaign, it has blossomed into a true modern JRPG experience, unlike newer titles in the genre. The game is a homage to the old turn-based JRPG games that have since become quite rare, with modern JRPG games going with a bare-bone visual novel framework with a more focus on dialogues rather than actual in-game mechanics. Edge of Eternity is a very ambitious game by Midgard Studios and promises a true open-world experience. A beta version of the game was released at the end of 2018, and since then the game has been getting active content updates and bug fixes. And now, finally, after 2 years of being in beta, the game is finally officially scheduled for a full release in spring 2021. So, let's take a look at the current version of Edge of Eternity with most of the content out and see how it delivers in its JRPG promised experience. Game mechanics wise, Edge of Eternity is quite reminiscent of other JRPGs like Fire Emblem, but rather than focusing more on the story, Edge of Eternity is more focused on the gameplay, open world and true adventure experience. The game follows a divergent storyline where the choices we make through the game lead us to the many endings the game has, but overall the plot is set in a world where war is rampant everywhere. The world is corroding into chaos. As Darian and Celine, we set out on a journey to rid the world of this all-consuming corrosion. Story-wise, Edge of Eternity is quite generic, with most of the in-game plot points being quite expected and just generally nostalgic if you're an old-time JRPG gamer. And currently, since the game is in beta, out of the total 8 expected chapters, only 5 are out. So the story is still somewhat incomplete, and as mentioned before, until next spring, the game is expected to stay this way. But with the 5 chapters we have for now, each chapter unlocks a new area with more insight into the world, better gear, and the foreseen area progression features that we've seen in other JRPG over the years. The way Edge of Eternity guides you through each transition with breathtaking environments and blistering plot points is quite exciting, and it may give you goosebumps along the way. Edge of Eternity, despite its open world setting, is still a JRPG, and it employs the iconic turn-based combat system in the game. The game also uses an active battle timer rather than the classic Despite its open world setting, it is still a JRPG and employs the iconic turn-based combat system in the game. The game also uses an active battle timer rather than the classic JRPG battle style. We are placed into a grid system where our position impacts what we do, and in the game, even moving around costs a turn. Other than this, the combat system has all the classic JRPG attacks, defenses, and magic systems. Some abilities, depending on the playstyle you were going for, will either target an individual player or impact selected or specific grid spaces. The grid tiles also have innate effects, like the crystal grid will heal you and reduce the damage a player takes. The game also innovates in one more way. Rather than the simple HP and MP system, which is quite common in JRPGs, Edge of Eternity also has a stamina, or rather an energy bar. This bar fills when the player either rests in a tavern or eats something to replenish the expended energy. The game is, in its true sense, a modern JRPG with newer game mechanics added to the mix. One of the strong points that Edge of Eternity has over other JRPGs is that the game looks spectacular. The open world setting of this title is complemented by the breathtaking environments. It is actually hard to believe that an indie studio was able to make such a huge detailed environment with epic game mechanics, but the character designs in the game, although look great, lack some details that would actually make them look just better and beautiful like the environment. Voice acting in Edge of Eternity is moderately good, with many other aspects of the game coming together to actually make it adequate. But the element that truly makes the game a great experience are the original soundtracks. The game is actually transformed into a mystical adventure because of the great tracks that make the game a better experience. But there are some bugs. The case being Edge of Eternity is still in its beta stage, but these bugs are just annoying and they take away from the engrossing gameplay. In certain scenes, the game will increase volume on its own, which is quite annoying, but with the oncoming updates, developers are expected of course to fix such bugs. Edge of Eternity is an emerging game that is actually bringing back the old enjoyable aspects of JRPGs with more modern game design features. The game just looks stunning and is a pleasure to play despite all the bugs and some annoying hard edges that plague the game. The developers are expected to fix all the caveats going forward, and definitely more can be expected from the game in the future. So, that was Studio 35's review of Edge of Eternity. Have you played it? Are you looking forward to it? We would love to know. And while you're here, why don't you like this video as it makes our content more visible? And if you like what we do here and you do want to catch our future content, you can subscribe to the channel. Sharing this video across all your favorite social media platforms is also extremely highly appreciated.
With over 10 million customers enjoying more than 200 million in savings on video games since 2013, Kinguin is just the ticket you need with our link.